This guy would beat me up regularly. He started bringing other women home and also spending my salaries on them. I was a kind of sex and baby making machine for him. I remember the day when he tied a dog's leash on my neck. For days I would not bathe, keep crying and lying on the bed. I took a stand saying, I still remember the day when my own biological mother removed all my clothes with just the panty on and threw me out of the house. This was a part of bigger punishment that I was getting because I was not able to meet her expectations in making my 3 years younger brother sleep during the day. Since this was repeating for a lot of days, which was followed by a lot of beatings with chappals and shoes and thapis, this day I was somehow getting a bigger punishment so that I learned the lesson. That was the kind of childhood. Imagine what a girl child would feel, but that is how the childhood was. Hello all, I am Pooja Sharma, international celebrity guru who spreads spiritual wisdom across the globe. And today I'm here to share my story with all of you. A story which is full of pain, lot of deep-rooted insecurities, extreme abandonment issues. A story of a child who was helpless, vulnerable, very, very emotional, totally dependent on the immediate support system that she was getting from her family and parents. A story of how she gathered herself and came out from a point of no return with flying colors. So here I stand in front of you to share my story, which is very, very soul-shaking. I was born and brought up in a very conservative, lower middle class family wherein there was constant criticism, monitoring, lot of rejections, wherein I was not allowed to have healthy interactions with men or boys, friend and family circle. So things were very different for my younger brother. He was sent to a convent school and a good engineering and MBA institute followed that. For me, government school, and technically speaking, not even a graduate on papers. And still here I am, speaking English in front of you. Normally, lot of things that come easy and by default to people was a luxury to me. Our elders usually handhold us and teach us every single thing about how to conduct our lifestyle. I do not remember my mother ever spending quality time with me and educating me on things which were as basic as menstruation, how and when to start wearing a bra, or talks on whether to clean genitals. I don't remember when my parents touched me, hugged me, or said that they loved me. I do remember that I kept approaching them, trying to hug them, saying, please say you love me. And they will just shake me off saying, kya hai, chipki rehti hai. There were constant allegations, acquisitions. My childhood was a lot like the incidents I shared with you. My soul still gets ripped apart and I cry when I think of such incidences. I remember how that neighborhood auntie came and took me inside the house when my mother kept saying that she is a bad girl and how she is trying to teach me a lesson. I still remember how that aunt tried explaining my mother and did reasoning with her, telling her that we need to accept small children the way they are and handle them with love, warmth, and acceptance. But these words were totally alien to me. Our childhood experiences make us what we are as an adult. Please understand, each one of you today as an adult is a summation of your childhood experiences, and hence a bad parenting or childhood issues can completely damage, shatter, and sabotage you for rest of your life. I grew up listening to words like ये हराम खोर है, अपने यार से मिलने गई थी, if I ever got late returning back home from tuitions. As children, as small, vulnerable kids, being dependent on our immediate family, when we don't find acceptance, warmth, love, and nurturing inside our household, we often try and look for that love and hunger outside the domains of our house. And that's exactly what happened to me. So as small children, often when we do not get enough love and nurturing at home, we start looking for that missing bit outside. And I did exactly the same. I started interacting with a boy at work. And one day, when my father, during regular fights, asked me to get out of his house, so when I called my friend and tried to rely on him, he came to support me and I got married to him. Little did I know then that he was a wife beater. I ended up from one abusive parent-child relationship to another abusive marriage. This guy would beat me up regularly. You still can see a lot of broken teeth that I have if you meet me in person. There were a lot of fractures that happened. He started bringing other women home and also spending my salaries on them. I could not walk out of that abuse and kept absorbing it for 2 years because I was so scared of calling it off due to my deep-rooted insecurity and my emotional weakness. Eventually, it led to my aborting my first child. And that is when I gathered myself and took an informed decision to walk out of that marriage. So after separation started another difficult time as I had to stay on my own, managing my kitchen, work, and my emotional issues. My parents did not take me back, and for a few years, I stayed by myself. 6-7 years down the line, my parents found a match for me, and within days, without any verification or reference check, they got me married. So this second marriage was an arranged marriage, and this involved abuse at another level. I remember as soon as my Dolly entered home, I was openly asked about my menstrual cycle so that I could be made to eat dabra, which is a so-called Ayurvedic medicine that makes you conceive only a male child, because in their families, they get female child aborted. There were talks on dowry because my parents did not give any dowry, and these people were talking about dowry. Even the second marriage came with a lot of struggle. Abuse at a different level, wherein he locked me up even if he's going to the colony market. He was always suspicious about me talking to other men. I was always on a house arrest. I was a kind of sex and baby making machine for him. After constant discussions on conceiving a male child, dowry, and then his threatening me a few times, I'll give you a tight slap, I took a stand saying I will move out. And once again, my parents did not support me on this, but I still went ahead with my decision. Years later, I found love in a budding politician who loved me like crazy, took care of me and pampered me, gave me a lot of attention. Finally, I was happy in a relationship with a lot of nurturing, care, pampering, comfort, and luxury. However, He was a sadist and into BDSM. I remember the day when he tied a dog's leash on my neck and said, "Baby, this is your Mangal Sutra." Beyond a point when it came painful for me, I stepped back. He told me that just like you go outside to watch a movie for entertainment, I will go out for BDSM and I will still get married to you. It was very painful and sabotaged my soul. I felt helpless, not knowing what to do. I was very, very embarrassed to even discuss the topic with anybody. Thinking about it day in and day night, I never realized how I went into clinical depression. For days, I would not bathe, keep crying and lying on the bed being non-functional. My room will stink and I started smoking. I kept sleeping the entire day because the medications were so strong and they make you feel drowsy, and even stopped looking at myself in the mirror. With 90 kgs, I lost all the confidence. I could not drive, I could not step out. The girl who could drove down to Rohtang Pass, I could not touch the steering wheel. It was very, very difficult. Daytime was still manageable. Nighttime made me feel more lonely. I would just keep crying with suicidal tendencies, keep smoking one cigarette after the other, trying to release my pain. Often people in pain choose unhealthy expressions, which could be impulsive shopping, drugs, or sex addiction. For me, as shared, it was cigarettes and relationship hopping. There was a lot of pain. I was going to a psychologist 3 times every week and discussing for hours and hours about my feelings and unresolved emotions. With Divine's grace, one of the incidents that I remembered is that I went to the most critical ward of the mental asylum and I saw how young people were just lying there as a cabbage or a piece of furniture. That is what hit me, and I decided that I don't want to lie in this room like this sofa or this bed. And I took a resolve that I'm going to turn around the tables, and no matter what happens, I would not come here again. I took a resolve and work on my self-growth and total transformation. I started reading hundreds of books, watching videos of successful people, trying to understand how they converted their different challenges into opportunities and became the leaders in their vertical. And I must tell you this, that no matter what happens in your life, there is no substitute to self-reliance. Today, people reach out to me with queries on communication skills. They want me to teach them and guide them in terms of their grooming, personal development, mannerism. They ask me that I should give them tips on how to carry themselves, elegance, and talk about grace. They get shocked when they find out that I've not even been to an English convent school. Now, this was also not easy. Nothing came to me as a free lunch. I worked for it. I remember even when I started working, I could not speak a single word of English. I bought some Rapidix English books and then I started practicing, speaking in English every single word. Initially, there was a lot of social mockery on my pronunciation, my vocabulary, but I did not give up. Lot of vocabulary from Reader Digest helped me. I just kept practicing, and with practice, like they say, practice makes a man perfect. Here I am in front of you. At present, I work internationally, where people from all walks of life come to me for counseling, motivation, and guidance in terms of different challenges that they're facing in their life, which could be financial, which could be relationship, which could be health related. Just because I failed so many times in my life, so I can relate to their pain, I can accept them unconditionally. And I can guide them and heal them accordingly. I work with a lot of corporate houses, leading journalists, scientists, doctors, engineers, entrepreneurs, real successful entrepreneurs, industrialists, and diplomats of the countries, helping them resolve their issues, which are confidential, very intense. In return, they have a lot of gratitude and respect for the immense work that is being offered. The reason that I'm standing here right in front of you, sharing my overwhelming story is because I want to tell you that no matter where you stand in your life today, it could be a bad marriage, financial breakdown, health issues, or domestic violence, you can always turn around the things. Never say never. If I can do it, so can you. Have a goal in your life and dedicate all your energies and focus trying to achieve it and becoming a higher version of yourself. I know it's not as easy as it sounds. It takes a lot of will, inner work, self-reliance, consistency, and patience. But with strong intent, willpower, and junoon, you can do it.
Josh Talks is now a Spotify exclusive podcast. The audio version of our talks will be available only on Spotify. If you like this video and you'd like to listen to more inspiring stories like this, please follow the Josh Talks podcast only on Spotify.
It is said that when you educate a woman, you educate an entire generation. नारी सशक्तिकरण पर ये पंक्तियां हमारे दिल को जोश और हिम्मत से भर देती हैं। ऐसी ही हिम्मत भरी कहानी अभी हमने सुनी जोश टॉक्स पर और हमें उससे काफ़ी प्रेरणा भी मिली। ऐसी ही कहानी है लक्ष्मी जी की, जिन्होंने CS करके बड़े शहर में वो आए जॉब का सपना लेके, पर उन्हें यहाँ जॉब नहीं मिल पाई। पर उन्होंने हिम्मत नहीं हारी, जोश के साथ उन्होंने कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स पर काम किया और आज एक बड़ी कंपनी में वो काम कर रही हैं। आज की महिला दुनिया के साथ कदम से कदम मिला रही है। चाहे कितनी भी मुश्किलें आए, कितनी भी प्रॉब्लम्स आए, अब हमें उड़ने से कोई नहीं रोक सकता। हाँ, अगर कुछ रोक सकता है तो वो है सही स्किल का ना होना। लेकिन अब जोश के साथ हमें कोई डर नहीं। लक्ष्मी जी की ही तरह कई स्टूडेंट्स जैसे कि वैशाली जी, नीला, प्रणाली, आरती और उषा जी ने मिलके जोश स्किल्स के साथ विभिन्न स्किल्स जैसे कि स्पोकन इंग्लिश, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स, पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट, फाइनेंस, बिजनेस बिल्डिंग सीखकर आज अपनी अलग पहचान बनाई है। अब स्पोकन इंग्लिश की ही बात कर लेते हैं। यहाँ पे आप लाखों स्टूडेंट्स के साथ डेली बोलने की प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं टू बिकम फ्लुएंट इन इंग्लिश कम्युनिकेशन। एक सेफ, स्मूथ एक्सपीरियंस और जोश के विश्वास के साथ। एवरी पावरफुल वुमन हैज़ वन थिंग इन देयर हार्ट एंड दैट इज जोश। Now you can also become successful by keeping Josh in your heart and in your phone. आज ही अपने जैसे लाखों स्टूडेंट के साथ भारत के नंबर 1 स्पोकन इंग्लिश लर्निंग ऐप जोश स्किल्स ऐप के साथ अपनी इंग्लिश लर्निंग जर्नी शुरू करें।